all will be revealed. I've played guitar for more than 40 years, and today I'm going to show you how to play another iconic Zeppelin tune from 1975's Physical Graffiti double album. It's Kashmir. Good morning, and thank you for stopping by to see what's happening here on the couch. Boy, do we have a good one for you today. Critics have labeled Kashmir as doomy, rapturous, and Physical Graffiti's most important song. Written and recorded over a 2-year period, the song is considered to be one of Zeppelin's greatest musical achievements. Ironically, no one in the band had ever been to the Kashmir region of India, a popular tourist spot known for beautiful mountains, lakes, and lush meadows. Instead, Plant's lyrical inspiration came from the desolate Moroccan desert. Stick with me after the lesson and we'll talk more about the song, the band, and a whole lot more. For now, let's jump right in and learn that instantly recognizable ascending intro riff. Our song today is in an alternate tuning, and before you flip the video off, this one is a pretty easy one to get to. It's called dadgad. So from the 6th string to the 1st string, it's D-A-D-G-A-D. You don't even need a tuner to get to it, and I would encourage you to at least try it. I've always found this tuning to be really inspirational in just noodling around, especially on acoustic guitar. This tuning makes me want to write music and help me come up with different ideas that I probably otherwise wouldn't. So the way we get into that tuning, we're only going to change 3 strings. Probably already familiar with drop D tuning, so we're going to tune our thickest string, or the low E string. We're going to tune it down to a D. So that's going to match your D string. Both those are going to be Ds. And then we're going to do the same thing with our thinnest string, the high E string. We're also going to tune it to a D, which you can just use your D string and match it. So now all 3 of those strings are Ds. The other thing I'm going to do is my B string, the 2nd string, 2nd thinnest string. Normally it's going to sound like this. As a B, I'm going to tune it down a step to A, and I'm going to make it match my A string. So now I've got 3 Ds, 2 As, and a G string is what's left. And again, you don't even need a tuner to get there. And then it has this pretty sound. Kind of a pretty sound. I know Jimmy Page has said that it's similar to a sitar tuning. I don't know what a sitar tuning is, but he said it's real similar to that. To me, it sounds very bluegrassy, especially when playing it on an acoustic guitar. The song is really, really one that looks and sounds harder than it actually is. It's really a simple song to play. It's super fun to play. The first part, the verse, I'm going to build that up. I'm going to show you 3 different levels to playing this verse section, the intro and the verse, same thing. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do so you get an idea of the pattern is just use your index finger. That's the only finger we're going to use to start with. And we're only going to play your D and your G strings. Now, as we go through here, even though the strings are different, I'm probably still going to call them their actual string name, whether I use the numbers, 6 being the thickest, 1 being the thinnest, or I might use their actual string name. So if I say the low E, you know I'm talking about what's actually a D string now. So Anyway, we're going to start out with our index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. We're only going to play the D and the G. We're going to go down, up, down. Everything is in threes in this song, so right? That's what we're going to do. So that's the first one. Second one, I'm just going to move my index finger up a half step. So I'm going to go to the 3rd fret of the G string, still playing the same 2 strings. So even if you didn't change the tuning on your guitar, these strings are the same strings anyway, so you could still play at least this part. After you do that, total of 6 times, you're going to go up another half step to the 4th fret. Then up another half step to the 5th fret. Now I'm going to go up a whole step from 5 to 7. I'm only going to play 1 set of 3 before I drop back down to 2. Okay, so that whole thing all together should sound like this. So just remember, when you get to 7, you've only got 1 set of 3. The next thing that I'm going to do to take it up another level is I'm going to take my pinky and I'm going to put it on the 5th fret of the A string. So that gives me 2 Ds in a row, right? That's a D and that's a D string. Now, my low E string is also a D now, so there's actually 3 Ds in a row when I put my pinky there. But I'm really only going to concentrate on these 3 strings, your A string, your D string, and your G string. And I'm going to play the same thing. I've got my index finger on the 2nd fret of the G, pinky on the 5th fret of the A, same 3. Same 3. When I get here, I kind of need to change my fingering or else they're going to get real bunched up, right? So I usually switch over and I put my ring finger on the 5th fret of the G string here, and then either my index or my middle finger on the 5th fret of the A string. And now my next one, I'm going to go up here to 7 still, like I just did earlier, but I still got to keep this D on the 5th one. So now my index is on the 5th, my pinky or my ring finger is on the 7th of the G. And then back. See, that kind of thickens it up, putting that extra string in there. Now I've got one more piece to add to that verse section, and that's going to be this open low E string, which is actually a D, and it comes in every other time. So I'm going to start out just like I started out before. I'm going to go 3 times, another 3. Now I'm going to hit the low E string, which is a D, and I'm going to go up. Do it again here. So the only time that I'm hitting that open string is right before I move up. So it's 3, 3 and nothing, and then another 3. Open string. Open string. Notice there's no D string when I'm here. And then I only play this fret 1 time. So it's like this and this are one group of 2 3s, if that makes sense. Hopefully that all makes sense, and that's relatively easy once you get that pattern down. Know that you're going half step, half step, half step, whole step, and then back to the start. Know that you've always got a finger covering this 5th fret of the A string, which gives you another D and thickens it up. and know that you're only going to hit this open, low D or E string. You're only going to hit it on the second go around every other time. Now, as you're going through and playing this, concentrate really on the nuance. Like, I try not to leave that low open string ringing because it doesn't quite sound right. So after I hit it, I mute it pretty quick, whether that's with my palm or the pad of another finger. I try not to let it ring. There's also, we cut those off. Right, they don't ring out for very long. So little things like that. Also experiment with the fingering as you're going up, whether you have to use your pinky here or you might be able to use your ring finger here, whether you're going to use these two fingers here or whether you're going to use these fingers here. So it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, I think, based on the size and the shape of your hands and how much dexterity you have with your pinky there. But really, once you get that pattern down and just those three little parts, it's really very easy to keep continuing that and to keep cycling and cycling. The next section is not really a chorus, but it's more of just a descending lick. I'm going to call it a chorus because the song, the structure is not like most songs, but it's going to go like this. We're going to talk about that right after this. Hey, I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you for watching, and thank you to all of you who've supported this channel in all the many ways that you have. If you like what we're doing here, I'll ask that you give us a thumbs up down below and subscribe to the channel. If you are able and feel led to leave a gratuity in any amount, there's also a link to our Buy Me a Coffee page in the description. It's a hassle-free digital tip jar, and you don't even need an account to leave a gratuity there. We also hope to have some t-shirt designs available there as well, hopefully by the time this video posts. If you need strings or would like information on any of the gear that I use here on the channel, I'll also place our Amazon affiliate links in the description there as well. Thanks again for your time and your support, and let's get right back to our lesson. So for our, what we'll call the chorus, we're only going to, the only fingering that we're going to worry about as we descend here down the neck, our fingers are always going to be on the first and the third string. So that high E or high D and the G string. That's the only two strings that we're going to worry about fingering. We're going to be playing from the D string down to the strings 4, 3, 2, and 1 as we go down. The first one here, we want both of our fingers at the 12th fret. So the 12th fret of the G string, the 12th fret of the high E string. That's the first one. And from there, we're just going to take one finger down a half step to 11. And that's going to be the one that's on the G string. We're going to keep the finger on the high E. Now we're going to take both fingers to 10. And then we're going to go down a half step again with this top finger to 9. Then we're going to go down to 7 and do the same thing. And then 5. And then 3. There's a little bit of a rhythm to that too. There's a little bit of a timing and a nuance thing as you go down. So that needs to match the record as well. Then there's a little lick. That is just the D string. We're going to play 3, 2 open. And then right back to it. We're going to play the lick again, and then we're going to transfer back into the verse. So as we come out of that lick, we don't start the ascending riff over from the start. We start it at 3 instead of 2. And we start it at the second grouping of 3 on the 3rd fret instead of the first one. So just continue back up. So with that descending lick, the only other thing that we want to be conscientious of is not only how to come out of it and get back into the ascending riff, but how to come out of the ascending riff into it. And we do that when we get here to the 5th fret on our way up. So it's like this. So right after that first triple, you know, up, down on the 5th fret, that's where we go into it. We always do that twice, with the exception of when we come into this next part, which is going to be like this. The first time we come into that little section, the way it happens, we go down the descending 2 times, we go back into the ascending. So as we come out of that, as we're coming back up, we're only going to get to the 5s. We're not going to get to the 7, and then we're going to go back down the ascending one more time. And this time, after we do the, there's a little tail on that. Couple different ways I'm going to show you to play this. Most people in all the tabs say it's open 2, and that's on the A string, and then open on the D string. I think it's open 3, and then the open A string, and it comes right after the, and then we have, so this is just an A power chord, so we're playing strings 5, 4, and 3, and so that's at the 2nd fret. We play it once, and then we go up here to the 4th fret, and we're going to cover the D and the G strings, still playing the A string as well, and then back to the A, and then we're going to go up here to the 7th fret, and we're going to play, you can play really all the strings down to get that sound better, but we're just going to fret the 7th fret of the D string, and we're going to slide it down. And then once we get down here, we hit that A again. And practice with that, see which way you like best. Whether it's the 3rd fret or the 2nd fret. There's the 2nd fret. There's the 3rd fret. I like the 3rd fret. Everybody says it's the 2nd fret though, so whichever you think sounds better. That little lick there, so it's the end of the lick from the descending, and then the new lick from this new part put together. That's going to be every other time. So as we come out of the descending, and then there's a little pause with nothing, and then it does it again. You can play the G string there too if you want to. And then the lick is every other time. So there's a pause the first time, and then the lick, and then a pause, and then the lick, and then a pause, and then the lick. The other part that we're going to get to is just an alternating G chord to an A chord. And this is the part where you hear lots of orchestration in the background. This is the part that, at least in my mind, it gives me, I start thinking of, like, you know, Arabian horses galloping through the desert with warriors with swords and things like that. That's what comes to mind when I hear that. I don't know about you. But the chords, the way we're going to play them, we're going to bar the 5th fret all the way, string 6 through 1, and then with our ring finger, or your pinky if you prefer, we're going to fret the 7th fret of the G string. Now these chords just kind of ring out, but as they're ringing out, he plays them a couple times. And then we're going to go to the A. So this being a G, if you go up a full step, there's the A, and you can play it there, but in watching video of Jimmy Page playing it live, he'll play that part and then he'll go down here for the A. So that's just like we were playing it just a second ago. That's just open on the 5th string, 2nd fret of the 4th and the 3rd strings. So it's kind of like an A power chord like you'd play in standard tuning. So as you listen to the record, you'll hear where he's filling in those extra little hits on each chord. Our final part in all this is really optional because it's really an overdub. It's not something that he plays, well, maybe he does play it live at times, but you have to kind of fit it in. So it's this little part that goes like this. He's kind of overlaying a guitar overdub over a cello there, I believe. So there's different places you can play it. You can play it here on the A string at the 12th fret. It goes 12, 11, 12, and then 14, back to 12, 11, back to 12, and then you end on 9. Some people like to play it there because they play the D string above it. To me, that sounds a little bit too muddy. You could also play it down here. You don't really have a D string to play off of, but you could play it down here. And you could use the D string right above it. So that's on the G string. And then when you hit the top one, you're going to be on the D string on 4. So it's 2, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 2, and then 4 on the G if you want to play the D above it with it. And then you'll have to kind of pick and pluck the D as the top string there when you go to the actual D string. Other than that, really, the only thing that I think we need to talk about maybe is the structure a little bit, which is a little bit hard because it is a long song. It's 8.5 minutes long. It starts out with 6 of the ascending licks. So there's 1, we're going to do that 6 times in a row. There's 2 times with no vocals and then 4 times with the vocals when we go through the verse. And then the descending. We're going to do that 2 times. And then we go back to the ascending, but we're going to do the ascending riff then 5 times the second time through. 1 time with no vocals, 4 times with vocals. We're going to descend 2 times again, ascend 1, like we talked about a little bit earlier, and then back to the descent because that's going to take us into the bridge. So remember, the first time it does it, it doesn't have the lick in it. The second time it does it, it has the lick, and then it's every other time. And you're going to go through, on the bridge, you're going to go through 5 sets of those 2. 1 without, 1 with, 1 without, 1 with. After the bridge, it goes back into the descending lick. We're going to do that 2 times. And then we have the interlude. We're going to go through the interlude, both those chords. We're going to do 5 sets of the 2 chords back and forth. Then we are going to ascend 6 times, 2 with no vocals, 4 with vocals, descend 2 times, ascend 5 times, 1 time with no vocals, 4 times with vocals, descend 2 times, and then we go back into that little thing almost like before the bridge where we ascend once, descend once, but instead of the bridge, we only do the bridge the first time there, about 2.5, 3 minutes into the song. So this time we're going to go back into the interlude. And it's going to continue that interlude until the song fades out. I hope this has been beneficial to you. Again, a really easy, fun song to play. Please don't let the dadgad tuning throw you off. I hope it's been beneficial and enjoyable. Robert Plant wrote the lyrics for Kashmir while on holiday following Led Zeppelin's 1973 tour for their 5th album, Houses of the Holy. Inspiration came while driving through the Moroccan desert in northern Africa. During the same period, Jimmy Page and John Bonham were jamming on a couple of riffs that they would wind up recording. That demo would go on to become Kashmir's musical foundation. Page had been playing in dadgad tuning as he had previously on songs like White Summer and Black Mountain Side. He had been working on a song that he called Swan Song, and the ending was comprised of both the ascending and descending riffs that would go on to become Kashmir, but in the opposite order. Of course, it goes without saying that Swan Song became the band's own record label. Physical Graffiti, Zeppelin's 6th album, would become the band's first album on that label, and Kashmir would be critically acclaimed as the most quintessential song on that album. After reversing the order of the riffs, Page said that he and Bonham jammed on them for hours. Later in 1974, Plant would put his lyrics with the music and also add the song's middle section. John Paul Jones was sick, and rumor has it that he was also considering leaving the band. Fortunately, he did not, and while he also did not receive writing credit due to his absence, he did hire and direct the song's orchestration. Jones also played the mellotron on Kashmir, which he had played previously on the band's biggest hit, Stairway to Heaven. Kashmir became both a band and a fan favorite. Robert Plant and John Paul Jones both listed it as their favorite song to perform live, and Jimmy Page listed it among his favorites, stating that like his children, he could never pick a single favorite. It's consistently been voted as one of the greatest songs of all time in fan polls by Rolling Stone, Blender, VH1, and others. It was performed at nearly every live show the band played following Physical Graffiti's release in February of 1975. The album hit number 1 on charts in the US, Canada, and the UK, and sales would eventually be certified at 16 times platinum. It was comprised of 8 new songs written in 1974 and 7 previously unreleased songs that just hadn't fit rightly with other songs on the band's 3rd, 4th, and 5th albums. Songs on the double album are very diverse in their musical styles. Robert Plant has stated that the album represented Led Zeppelin at their creative peak, and Jimmy Page has called Graffiti the high water mark for the band. Even the album's artwork and packaging were considered extraordinary and won a Grammy Award in 1976 for Best Album Package. The New York tenement building featured on the cover would also be used again in 1981 by the Rolling Stones when it appeared prominently in their video for their hit song Waiting on a Friend. If you saw my earlier tutorial on Stairway to Heaven, I talked about Robert Plant's interview in which he said he doesn't particularly care for the lyrical content of that song and he doesn't perform it live excepting rare occasions, and that perhaps he was still trying to figure out the answers to those big questions. I get a sense of that same kind of searching here in the lyrics for Kashmir. It brings to mind scenery perhaps reminiscent of the biblical Exodus, a people on a pilgrimage traveling through time and space, wandering in a desert wilderness. Talk of days for which they sit and wait when all will be revealed. Talk and songs of lifting grace caress the writer's ear, though not a word he could relate, the story was quite clear. Also, interestingly enough, Robert Plant's current band and his latest album are titled Saving Grace, and I do very sincerely hope that he's found it. The truth has long since been revealed in God's Word. There you'll find that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and that no man gets to the Father but by Him. You'll find that He is the straight way and the narrow gate that leads to life, and unfortunately, there are few that find it. You'll find that many seek to enter in by the broad path and the wide gate, only to find that those lead to destruction. If you find yourself now wandering in the wilderness and seeking answers to those kinds of questions, I'd encourage you to pick Jesus. I'd encourage you to seek Him out with all of your heart. His grace and mercy will quench the thirst of every weary traveler, no matter how dry the desert wilderness you find yourself in. As always, I am so very grateful for your time and for watching my channel. I'm very grateful for all of your support in whatever form that might take, and I do very sincerely hope to see you back again soon, right here on the couch.